and welcome to part 6 in this series, Learn to Code HTML for Beginners. Now in the last video we spoke about links, and in this video we're going to talk about images and using images on our web page. So to begin, what I've done is I've created this images folder here, and I've downloaded 3 images from Google Images and then just renamed them, okay? Now for you to do the same, what you can do is go on Google Images, whatever images you want to use, right click, save image as. I have it in my desktop, HTML, and then I've created a folder and saved them in there. You can rename, obviously, the file to whatever you want, right? So if I wanted to name this Doodle for argument's sake, we'll close out of this, and now in my images folder, you'll see the Doodle image here, right? Now, I'm not going to be using this now, so I'm going to delete that, move to trash, and we'll stick with the 3 images that we have saved here, all right? Now, just something to note on this while we're here is that if we click into any of these images, we'll actually see the size here. So the images are all different sizes. This is quite a small image. This is kind of medium sized, and then this hurling image is going to actually be huge on our page. So we might need to resize some of that. So we'll talk about that now in just a moment. But first and foremost, what we'll do is we'll come down here. We'll come down here and we're going to start off with a H1 tag, and we'll say my favorite sports. Okay. Now, what we're going to do is for each sport, we're going to have a heading, we'll have a H4, and then we'll have our image. Now, to actually put in an image, what we use is a self-closing tag. Okay, and what that means is that rather than having an image tag and then a closing image tag, we're instead going to put in this slash at the end, and that's our full tag. Okay, you'll notice it doesn't generate a closing tag here like when we use the H1 or the H4. So this is our full tag, and what we need now is a source. So this is the source of where our image is coming from. And the other thing we need is an alt tag. And this alt tag is used for 2 things. So what we do is we put in a little message here, all right, of what our image actually is. And that's used in 2 ways. One is for assistive technologies like screen readers for blind people. That can actually read out the message in here, obviously, rather than showing the image. And the other reason is if for any reason, if our image doesn't actually load, what will show up is a little loader for a broken image tag. I'll show you it now in just a moment, and then instead of the image it will actually display this message. Okay, so what we'll start off with is we want to access the images that we have saved in our image file. So to start off, we need to put a dot to come back out of this file, and a slash to go into another file, and we're going to go into this images file, or this images folder rather, and click the image that we want. So we want this football image, and what we're going to say in this alt tag is this is a photo of Man United. Okay, we'll hit refresh. Boom, there's our image there. Okay, now we're actually going to do this for our other 2 images as well. So we will say this is hurling. Okay, and this is a photo of hurling and boxing. This is a photo of boxing. I know these seem a little bit silly, but just to show you how it all works. So what we do now is we'll refresh that. We have our football, our hurling, and our boxing. Now, if we full screen this for a moment, you'll see, remember earlier we looked at the size of the images, so you'll see the boxing image is quite small, this hurling image is absolutely massive, and here's our football image. So what we're going to do is we're going to use a tiny little bit of CSS to resize these images. This isn't something that you're going to need to worry about too much for the moment. We're going to actually do a full video on CSS, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to just put the height of all these images at 200 pixels. And what it will actually do is it will resize the image, and it will resize the width of the image relative to the original size. Okay, so it's not just going to stay a massive width and just reduce the height. The width is going to decrease relative to the height. Okay, so boom, put that there, and we'll put this here. Save that, and these images should all resize. Perfect. Okay, so now that we've done that, what we're going to do is we're going to look at actually adding an image if the image isn't saved already in our file. Okay, so we're going to we're going to put in Google here, and what we'll have, this is a photo of the Google logo. Okay, and we've deleted that image. Remember, we downloaded the Google image earlier, the logo. We've actually deleted that. So what we want to do is, I want to get this image without saving it. So I'm going to right click on the image, and I'm going to say copy image address. So we'll do that, and we'll paste this address in here. Okay, and now when we hit refresh, we have this image. Okay, now actually this is actually quite a wide image, so rather than changing the height, we'll actually set the width as 200 pixels, and there it is. You'll actually see, if we were to put the height at 200 pixels as well, it's going to distort the image. Okay, so we don't want that, so we'll just sign this again. We'll look at this in more detail when we start looking at CSS in the next couple of videos, but for the moment, there it is there. Now we can do some cool things with images as well. So remember, in the last video we had a look at links. Okay, let's look at that link again. So we'll put in our href, and we'll leave that there, and we'll close this tag. Now this is going to link, we want this to link to Google. So what we're going to do is, rather than actually saying Google here and there being a button that says Google like we have up here, alright, so we've actually done this up here. Where was it? Here. So here we've actually put in a link to google.com, and in here we've actually just written Google. Instead of doing that, what would it actually, do you know what? We might even do it up here. Yeah, let's do this for a moment. We'll get rid of this, and instead of up here, instead of just having this button here that says Google, what we'll do is we'll get rid of that. Instead, we want to actually have the image. We want to actually have the Google image there. All right, now let's hit refresh, and there it is. Okay, now this looks silly, but you'll have seen this on web pages before, where there's links to maybe an Instagram account for a business, maybe there's a Facebook, maybe it's on Instagram or Facebook, they're trying to link it to their website where they'll have an image. Okay, so what we can do is we can actually click on this, and this is going to bring us to Google. All right, and like we did in our last video, if we want to, we can put that target as blank. Hit refresh. Why is that not working? Oh, sorry. That's why it's not working. There you go. Our first bug. This has to be up here. Sorry, and now that should work. Yeah, it opens in a new window. Okay. Yeah, so the problem we were having there is that obviously this target needs to be assigned to the actual anchor tag as opposed to being assigned to the image tag, which is what I was doing. But it's good for you to see that, and this happens all the time. Anytime you're coding anything, you're always going to make mistakes, especially now it's about 10:30 in the evening. So this tends to be where a lot of mistakes happen. So we've assigned it there. That's all working perfectly. Now there's one or two more things that I want to show you that are just handy for you to know. First thing we'll look at is a title. Okay, now you don't have to put in a title, but it's handy to do. Let's just say we wanted to have, let's say, so this is a photo of Man United. Yeah, we'll just put in something different. This is a football image from Google Images. Okay, doesn't matter. Sorry, this is driving me mad. My favorite sports. Sorry about that. And now this title, right? So you'll see nothing has changed here, but what will actually happen is once we hover on the image, it'll come up. This is a football image from Google Images. Okay, when we hover on the hurling image, nothing happens because we haven't assigned a title there, but we'll do so now. Title, and this is another image from Google Images. Hit save, refresh, hover, works. Perfect. Now, what I want to also show you here is using figure and fig caption, okay? And a lot of the styling that was used in HTML is similar stuff to what you might see in a newspaper or in a magazine. There's a lot of terminology used, like the fold. So, for example, the bit of the page here that we can see, that is the page, but anything below that we call the fold. So anything under this line, this is what's known as the fold. And then once we scroll down, everything there here is known as the fold. Now, there's different things that you'll come across the more you use HTML, all right? But what we can actually do with this styling is we can get rid of this for the moment and we'll put in a figure here, okay? And in here we'll have our image, and underneath we want to put in a fig caption. Okay, and this can be anything. Stock photo from United versus Arsenal yesterday. Okay, it doesn't matter. And what this is going to do is it's actually going to indent the image and attach this as sort of a little description for the images, similar to what you'd see in a newspaper or in a magazine, where they have the image and a small caption underneath. And you'll see here as well, if we then just write normal text here, it's going to be separated from all this image, right? So we can go in here and we'll say Lorem, just Lorem Ipsum text, and we'll say by 3 paragraphs. Hit enter, save, and you can start to see how that looks. We have our title, our image here with our little description here. It's separated from the text. You'll see this is all indented and the text just continues on as normal. Okay, so that's pretty much everything for this video. As usual, if you have any questions or anything that you don't understand, write it in the comments and I'll reply in the comments there so everybody can see it. If you can, please like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to my channel. It really does help me a lot. In the next video, we are going to be looking at semantic tags. And then we've only another couple of videos to the end of this. We might build something out in HTML and then we'll start looking at CSS. So, yeah, thank you very much for your time, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.